What's up, YouTube family? Today's video is going to be about me talking about my tea getting clocked while I was taking the city bus. So the way this video goes is a little interesting, and yeah, so let's just get right into it. So one day, me and my friend Christine, the one that you guys see in my prior video before this one, me and her one day just wanted to go shopping to the mall, and she didn't want to spend any money on an Uber. Both of us do know how to drive, however, she does not have a car right now, and neither do I. So we decided, okay, like, let's take the bus, look up the schedule, see how things are working out, etc. So then we got ready, did everything we had to do before, you know, we got our day started, and then we got on the bus. We're going down the street on the bus, and it goes all the way down the main street of the city. And then the mall is about, like, what, 15 minutes away from my house. But the bus, it might be a little bit longer because they have to make stops and pick up people and drop off people, etc. So then this girl gets on the bus that I know from high school. She considers herself a friend of mine, and I guess we can say that we're friendly people to one another, but I wouldn't exactly consider her a friend. The definition of a friend to me is someone that you can really trust and rely on, and then vice versa, and someone that you've actually spent time with outside of, like, school and stuff. So me and her, we've never really, like, hung out outside of school, so I wouldn't really consider us friends. I would consider us acquaintances because we do know of one another. However, she did know me before my transition as Day Dawn. Now, you guys know that my name was Day Dawn before I started transitioning, and now it's Dawn, and you guys know that. I saw her walking on the bus, and then I was sitting in the front on the left side of the bus, and then she sat, like, literally, like, right above, like, on the right side, and then if she turned her neck to the left, she'd be able to see me. So I was, oh my goodness, like, I do not, like, want to run into this girl. I do not want to have a conversation with her. Like, oh my goodness. We're going to call her Lucy for the sake of privacy. Lucy takes her seat after she finished depositing her money into the bus's little checking thing where you put in your money to get on the bus. And then she takes a seat. So I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to see her. The reason why I do not want to speak to her is because there are religious Mormon men sitting next to me. And then there was a bunch of men surrounding me and Christine as well. And I don't think they realized that I was transgender. So, you know, I was trying to, like, keep myself as, you know, hidden as possible in this situation. So I was like, oh my God, she doesn't know about me being transgender. Maybe she'll recognize me and call me by my old name and use the incorrect pronouns. And if you're transgender, that's, like, the most scary thing in the world. It's just like a heart attack for you. So she's sitting on the right hand side of the bus, and then she turns back and she's like, Day Dawn? I was like, oh my God, here we go. The thing I feared the most is happening. She called my name about, like, 5 times before I answered. And then she was like, oops, I'm sorry, Dawn. And then, like, she started talking to me. I was like, oh, hey, Lucy, how are you? How are things going? We just had a little bit of small talk and etc. So she's sitting there and we're making small talk and just talking, and then she calls me Day Dawn repeatedly, and I don't think she recognized what she was doing, but, you know, it was really, like, irking me because if you're transgender and you go by a certain name now and someone calls you your old name, it only brings up past feelings and past things that you really wanted to forget about because you're living this new life as your real self. So, you know, I didn't want to go about explaining it to her in front of people because then I would have outed myself in front of the Mormon men sitting next to me and then the guy that was sitting behind me and Christine as well. So as she's saying Day Dawn, she's also saying the pronouns he and him. So these Mormon men are looking at me not knowing what she's talking about. They're thinking probably in their head, like, oh my God, like, why is she calling this girl a he? Like, and then, you know, I don't think they grasped onto it, and you guys are going to figure out why later on in the story. I don't think they grasped onto the fact that I was transgender. So Lucy would continue to saying Day Dawn and he, and then she would try and, like, correct herself and, you know, try and make it better, but it wasn't really making it better because then Lucy said, you know, Day Dawn is turning into a girl. He's actually going to be a girl. but he's still a he, but he's going to be a girl. Now, I don't know if this girl is special. I highly doubt it because she's always traveling around by herself. I've never seen her diagnosed with anything. I've never seen papers, physical papers of any sort, any documents. So, you know, I don't want to, like, you know, say that that was what the case is. I don't want to say that that's what it was because, you know, that's seriously really rude. You know, it just seems like it a little bit, but who knows, whatever. Because of the way she acts, the way she speaks, and just the things that she does, just little things. I'm just trying to put 2 and 2 together, y'all. So, yeah, and then she keeps repeating, like, date on and he, and repeating the fact that I'm transitioning, basically, outing me on the bus in front of all these people. So I'm just like, oh my God, like, I just keep looking down because I'm, like, hoping that this conversation will end. Eventually, she'll just drop it because she can obviously see how uncomfortable I am. And then I type Christine because she's asking Christine a question. And then she's like, how have you been? And da-da-da-da. And Christine was obviously trying to avoid this woman too because she was like, oh, I've been good. And then she'll put her earphones back in and then she'll keep talking. But then Christine's not answering. So then she'll ask me to tell Christine, like, hey, I'm speaking to you. Like, you know, and we're not doing this to try and be rude. We're just doing this to try and prevent this situation. Because if we were not in front of all these people, I would have very kindly talk to her and let her know, hey, these are the pronouns I go by. This is what the situation is. I'm transgender. I no longer go by the pronouns he and him. I go by she and her and herself. So if you would so gladly just do that for me, because, you know, it's very dangerous for trans people in this world because not everyone understands it and not everyone wants to understand it because they think it's, you know, Satan himself walking around posing as somebody else, who knows. So eventually she got the picture that we didn't want to speak to her anymore because she just saw us trying to ignore the whole situation because I didn't want to get rude, you know. So I just put my head down and started looking at my phone, and I was just so upset because I was just like, oh my goodness. But then I couldn't be too upset because she didn't really know about the situation. But then, you know, you're going to be upset regardless of the situation. So she just kept speaking and doing whatever she did. I gave her short little answers, and then eventually she just got the point and got up and went to the back of the bus. So then what I'm saying that these Mormon men that were sitting next to me didn't pick up the fact that I was transgender because they were trying to get me a slip, and then they were like, excuse me, miss? They were like, excuse me, miss? And I was like, oh, like, you're speaking to me. What's up? And then they're like asking, like, hey, like, just asking me, like, if I'm familiar with the Mormon religion. And I told them yes, because I did have a Mormon friend before. I've been to events and church events and learned on the religion, basically. So then I was letting them know, like, okay, like, yeah, I'll take the slip, but, like, I'm familiar with everything that you're putting out there to me. And they were asking me, like, hey, so, like, would you be interested to, like, coming to our church in Pacific? And I was like, I think I'm okay. Like, I don't think that I need to because, like, first of all, I'm a Christian. I'm not Mormon. I don't think that, you know, I need to go. And two, because I already know the basics about the religion, so I didn't feel it was necessary for me to go in particular. And then they started to ask, they were like, well, why? And I was like, well, I just told you why I didn't want to go. And they were basically just trying to, like, hassle me to go. And then they're like, well, I see you there and blah, 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 blah. Basically, like, kind of hitting on me. So I was like, okay, thinking in my head, well, I guess they didn't pick up the fact that I was transgender. It's probably a foreign term to them or whatever the heck the case was. I'm just glad that that didn't go down super crazy. I really hope that I could see this girl again so I could educate her and let her know why I was acting the way I was on the bus. But I did not see her. I do not have her contact information. So we'll just have to wait until fate brings us together again on the street. But this is exactly why I was afraid to go on the bus, because I thought I knew something like this would happen, and then boom, in the blink of an eye it happened. So I learned my lesson, but who knows, I might end up taking the bus again someday because I'm not shallow. I don't think it's a problem to take the bus, but you know, it's just not my cup of tea. I'd rather Uber. That was pretty much it for this story time. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be putting out my 1-year anniversary on hormones video next month. very, very soon, and I will be keeping you guys updated on everything from then on out as well. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and leave a like and a comment on this video for, you know, me and you purposes, if you'd like to, but it would be nice if you did. And I hope to see you guys again in another video. Mwah.